The golden Johannesburg sunrise streams through floor-to-ceiling windows of a sleek penthouse apartment. The space is modern and minimalist, leather furniture, abstract art, and a view of the sprawling city below. Thabo Mthembu, 32, impeccably dressed in a tailored navy suit, stands at the window. The apartment is silent except for the distant hum of morning traffic. Framed photographs line a marble side table, Thabo with his parents in traditional Zulu attire, graduation photos, business awards, and prominently displayed, a picture of him with Nomsa Dlamini, 28, both laughing at what appear. Thabo said, *Namela kwai oba yusuku olukalo. Thabo said, Sobobona, Mama. Hello, Mama. Mama Mthembu said, *Njayakubona, Mfana wami. The contrast is stark as we transition from Johannesburg's gleaming towers to the vibrant streets of Soweto. The Dlamini family home is a modest but well-maintained house with a small garden where marigolds and spinach grow side by side. Traditional African patterns decorate the security gate, and a Nomsa Dlamini emerges from the front door, her natural hair wrapped in a colorful head wrap that complements her flowing African print dress. She's carrying a stack of papers, lesson plans for her grade 6 class. Her beauty is understated but radiant, and there's an intelligence in her dark eyes that Nomsa said, *Njayahamba, Mama. Mama Dlamini said, *Hamba Kale, Mtanami. Saibon Tambama. Saifo said, big day today, sis. You nervous? The ancestral home of the Mthembu family sits majestically in the rolling hills of KwaZulu-Natal. Traditional round rondavels with thatched roofs surround a main modern house, creating a harmony between old and new. Smoke rises from cooking fires, and the air is filled with the sound of cattle lowing. Olibaba Mthmbu, 58, Thabo's father, cuts an imposing figure in traditional Zulu attire, animal skins, beaded accessories, and a headring that marks his status as a married man. His weathered hands speak of years of hard work, but his bearing is that of a man of considerable respect in his community. Olibaba Mthembu said, *Namala saukusala umakoti wethu. Uncle Mandla said, *Yabwa, Baba. Mama Mthembu said, we must be patient. The girl has been raised in the city. She may not understand all our customs. The primary school classroom is alive with the energy of 30 grade 6 learners. Colorful educational posters cover the walls, some in English, others in Zulu and Sotho. Mathematical equations fill the chalkboard, and Nomsa moves between the desks with the natural grace of a born teacher. The children, aged 11 to 12, represent the Rainbow Nation in miniature, faces of different cultures and backgrounds all focused on their beloved teacher. Nomsa wears a simple but elegant dress that allows her to move freely while commanding respect. Nomsa said, remember, class, mathematics is like life, there are many ways to solve the same problem. Student 1 said, Miss Dlamini, my grandmother says women should focus on cooking, not numbers. Nomsa said, your grandmother is wise about many things. The Dlamini kitchen is the heart of the home, warm, lived in, with a mixture of modern appliances and traditional touches. Mama Dlamini, 52, wearing a colorful dress and apron, moves efficiently between pots of steaming food. The aromas of traditional Zulu cuisine fill the air, Amlekwa, tradition. Dr. Precious Dlamini is a woman caught between worlds. She has a PhD in social sciences but maintains deep respect for her heritage. Her movements in the kitchen are choreographed by years of practice, yet her conversation reveals a sharp, analytical mind. Mama Dlamini said, *Njibon ukuti bazafika nini la bantu. Olibaba Dlamini said, *Stand wasami. Mama Dlamini said, Josephat, we are not poor. We have raised our daughter with love, education, and values. That is worth more than any amount of money. The quiet street erupts into activity as the Mthembu family convoy arrives. Several cars pull up, and the neighbors discreetly gather on their stoops and behind curtains to watch the spectacle. This is Community entertainment, a traditional Lobola negotiation in the heart of Soweto. Thabo's family emerges from their vehicles like a delegation of dignitaries. Baba Mthembu leads the procession, followed by his brothers and male relatives, all in traditional attire. The women, including Mama Mthembu, are dressed in their finest traditional clothes, a symphony of beads, animal ski. Oli Baba Mthembu said, Mrs. Faith Kale. Uncle Mandla said, remember, Thabo said, Uncle, with respect, Nomsa is an educated woman. Shouldn't she have a voice in this? The modest living room has been transformed for the occasion. Furniture has been rearranged to create a formal meeting space. The room is small but spotless, a three-piece suite covered with crocheted doilies, family photographs on every surface, and a large painting of Jesus alongside traditional. The atmosphere is thick with formality and underlying tension. Baba Dlamini sits in his chair like a king holding court, while Mama Dlamini serves traditional beer and refreshments to the guests. The Mthembu delegation fills the small space, their traditional regalia impressive against the humble beer. Oli Baba Mthembu said, Baba Dlamini, Sifike Lofen Jahalizio Ethabil. Oli Baba Dlamini said, you honor our home with your presence. Your son has shown great respect for our daughter. Uncle Mandla said, we have come to discuss the Lobola for you, Nomsa. We understand she is a woman of great value, educated, beautiful, from a good family. Mama Dlamini has retreated to the kitchen, ostensibly to prepare more refreshments, but really to collect herself. She moves between preparations with sharp, frustrated movements. The sound of negotiations drifts from the living room. Nomsa appears in the doorway, having excused herself from the formal proceedings. Nomsa said, Mama, are you alright? Mama Dlamini said, alright. Nomsa said, Mama, it's tradition. Papa is trying to show that he values me. The formal atmosphere has degraded into barely controlled tension. Baba Dlamini sits rigidly in his chair, while several of the Mthembu men shift uncomfortably. Thabo looks increasingly distressed as he watches his dreams slipping away. Uncle Mandla said, Baba Dlamini, Ali Baba Dlamini said, more than traditional. My daughter speaks 3 languages, has a university degree, comes from a family with strong values. What is traditional worth for such a woman? Oli Baba Mthembu said, education is valuable, yes. But Lobola has traditional guidelines. We offer 8 cattle plus 20,000 rand. This is generous and respectful. The living room feels like a courtroom where the jury is deadlocked. Mama Dlamini stands defiantly while both families stare in shock. Traditional protocol has been shattered, and nobody knows how to proceed. Oli Baba Dlamini said, precious, Yuzilotso Mdinini. Mama Dlamini said, the only embarrassment is watching grown men treat a woman like property. Nomsa said, Njisala Yukukuluma. The negotiation has moved outside as tempers need cooling and space is needed for reflection. The Mthembu family stands in small groups, discussing in hushed tones. Neighbors have given up pretending not to watch, this is better than television. Baba Mthembu paces near his car, his dignity wrestling with his love for his son. Uncle Mandla and other male relatives huddle nearby, their traditional views challenged by the morning's events. Uncle Mandla said, these city children don't understand respect. Oli Baba Mthembu said, maybe they understand something we're forgetting. Uncle Mandla said, Buti, the sun is setting, casting long shadows through the small windows. The formal atmosphere has given way to exhausted contemplation. Both families have reconvened, but the energy is different, less formal, more human. Nomsa and Thabo sit closer together now, their hands almost touching. The events of the day have changed something fundamental about the dynamics in the room. Oli Baba Mthembu said, Baba Dlamini, Ali Baba Dlamini said, your son, he showed respect for my daughter even when tradition said he should be silent. Mama Dlamini said, In my research, I've learned that Lobola originally was about ensuring the bride would be cared for, protected. It was never about selling daughters. Episode cliffhanger: mysterious threatening phone call suggesting clan-based opposition to the marriage.